everybody. I hope everything is okay and you all can hear me correctly. This is my first webinar, and this webinar is organized by CIVITAS Wiki and CIVITAS Capital. I'm Tito Stefanelli and I am the thematic moderator of CIVITAS thematic group on urban freight logistics. Here with me there is my colleague Cosimo Chiffi, and he will help me during all this webinar. And he is the thematic moderator of collective passenger transport on, I mute Enrico. Okay, sorry. And for any technical issues in this webinar, we have Andrea Boggi from Innova, who will help us in case of any problem. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, also I'm Cosimo. I just suggest to the participants also to use the questions box to put the questions, and this is because I will collect your questions, and at the end of each presentation I will try to give you the floor or to reply or to put the question to the speaker. So please use the question box or the chat to put your question.
Okay. This is, as I said before, the first webinar on the urban freight logistics organized by CIVITAS Wiki, and it is with green vehicles for urban freight delivery. But first of all, I would like to spend some few words about CIVITAS initiatives, and in particular two thematic groups. Here I have some slides. Okay. In fact, probably not all of you knows the CIVITAS initiative, which was launched in 2002 with the main aim of significantly influencing and changing urban mobility and travel behavior in European cities. In the last edition, there are also other non-European cities such as Tel Aviv. Basically, this big effort is carried out in two ways: by developing, testing and evaluating integrated sets of measures and policies for sustainable urban mobility in cities. And the other is by disseminating and further replicating CIVITAS concepts and policies and measures in other local contexts. Especially during these 12 years, more than 800 measures have been tested and validated in about, I think, 60 cities all around Europe. So, a part of being an European Commission funding program, CIVITAS has been designed to be the knowledge hub for sustainable urban mobility solutions and policy schemes in urban areas. So, one of our main aim is to give visibility to practitioners and connect them through the CIVITAS thematic groups. In this way, thematic groups are intended to be the permanent platform for exchanging ideas and experience and knowledge on a certain mobility topics, and for facilitating the replication of measures applied in all the cities. The CIVITAS community of practice actually is structured into 10 thematic groups, each supported by a thematic moderator from the support action CIVITAS Wiki and CIVITAS Capital. Me and Cosimo and Andrea Boggi are from CIVITAS Wiki. In this group, cities and their mobility professionals can meet each other, discuss hot topics, exchange ideas, post interesting sources, and learn about how to transfer successful measures into their local context and their own practice. In the slide, you can see how to register. I suggest you to send me an email to the address written in the slide, or on the website civitas.eu. We are improving the website, so probably actually there might be some problems. But you can go to working groups and then in the submenu thematic groups, and then urban freight logistic, and join the group. But as I already said, send me an email and I'll insert you on the thematic group. Especially in within the thematic group Urban Freight Logistics, we are planning a series of thematic activities such as this webinar, with the main aim to provide to politicians and city planners an overview about the most common action and activities on goods delivery in our city center in order to achieve a more sustainable urban freight logistics. In fact, as we know, urban freight distribution is an increasingly important part of modern city life, since most of our city centers are often overrun by freight delivery vehicles, causing often several congestion problems and pollution. In this way, urban freight logistics has to be rethinked in our city, and this particularly by introducing, in one hand, some restrictive measures and facilities for a more efficient urban freight distribution, and on the other hand, we have to think about using innovative zero-emission vehicles more suited for our historical centers. Unfortunately, in fact, trucks and diesel vans still remain the dominant urban mode for good delivery. But we know that other options are on the rise. Electric vehicles, electric van, and cargo bikes can really set in the scene of today's zero-emission city logistics. This webinar will present, in fact, 3 applications and 3 projects about green freight delivery. Enrico Pastori, senior expert from TA3 Trasporti e Territorio from Milan, will present Cycle Logistic Ahead project. Enrico will focus on cargo bikes and tricycle for the last mile delivery. Then there will be the case presented by Matthew Noon, FREVUE project coordinator, who will present the use of electric vehicles for freight delivery in 8 cities across Europe, such as Amsterdam, Lisbon, London, Madrid, Milan, Oslo, Amsterdam, and Stockholm. And finally, Giuseppe Lupino from the CNTL, that is the Institute for Transport and Logistics from Bologna, Italy, will present some activities concerning the SMILE project, which is about city logistics and the use of green vehicles for urban freight distribution. So, after this presentation, very brief, I think everything is ready for Enrico. And Enrico, I give you the floor and the monitor. Just 1 moment, please.
Okay.
Here.
Thanks, Tito. Okay.
Perfect.
Thanks, Tito, for this introduction. So we are now going into the detail of my presentation today. We will be talking about cargo bikes and tricycles, possible alternative vehicle solution for last mile delivery into urban areas. Just a few words about who I am, who are TRT and Triclo, which are the 2 companies that I'm representing today. TRT is a consultancy specialized in economics, transport planning, and transport models. We are now project partner of this intelligent energy funded project Cycle Logistics Ahead, which built on the experience on the former Cycle Logistics project, which was a successful one funded by Intelligent Energy in the previous round. And we involve in this project some test and the pilot project on the city of Milan. Triclo is an operating company that was founded by TRT together with a partner, Postex, and this can be considered the first Italian cargo bike company, because we are focusing on cargo bike operations. there were other experiences with urban messengers, but not focusing on cargo bike and delivery solution. Within the activities of Triclo, we are also testing an innovative tricycle proposed by an Italian producer, which is represented here in the last picture on your on the right bottom side of the slide. Okay, Triclo, more in particular activity of Triclo. We are working in 3 cities in Italy: Milan, Padova, and Bologna. We started actually in Padova and now working in Milan and Bologna. We have a fleet of around 10 tricycles working and 4 cargo bikes, and we recently bought a small CNG van, natural gas powered van. Micro hubs are in the city of Milan, in the center, and the other in Padova. And our main client, we can say, is today DHL, and we are a service partner of DHL in the Go Green initiative that I think you well know because it's a European-wide initiative. Other customers, most important customers, are food and organic shops and other type of food shops, let's say, and small supermarket in particular. Okay, Psychologistics Ahead is the project that I mentioned before. Is a project that focuses on psychologistics as a mean to achieve ambitious target of the EU or zero emission in urban logistics by 2030. So, as I told you before, it builds on the experience of the previous psychologistics project, in which for the first time, I think, psychologistics was proposed as an efficient and successful solution for urban delivery of goods in different urban cities. This new Psychologistics Ahead is trying to go forward after psychologistics and try to consider sustainable logistics solution, probably not only based on bicycles, but building also, for example, on electric vehicles. So in order to advance towards the zero-emission logistics in urban areas. Partners are here listed. I wouldn't talk about every partner listed here. Within the first psychologistics project, one of the major achievements of the psychologistics project was the foundation of the European Psychologistics Federation, which is a professional body representing and supporting the needs of all the companies active in the business of psychologistics in Europe. We met in Nijmegen in April this year, 3 months ago, with a lot of people, over 200 people talking and discussing about psychologistics, interested in cargo bikes and in start-upping business or improving their business in various cities of Europe. In particular, I must say, from the central area of Europe, so the Netherlands, Germany, France, Belgium, some from UK, some from Italy, and a lot of also participation from Spain and some from, for example, Czech Republic, Hungary, and so on. Okay. I invite you to visit the website of the Psychologistics Federation also to know more about this initiative. Okay, I was mentioning the Psychologistics project. In Psychologistics project, one of the major achievements was also to define the potential for psychologistics in urban areas. and we may say that 10 to 15% of the current urban freight traffic can be shifted to bicycle as an alternative mode of transport. In knowing that urban freight transport is responsible for a large share of polluting emission polluting and noise emission in urban areas, so 20 to 30% here is estimated. Okay, the target for emission reduction is quite ambitious. And also considering that as also another indicator that is very relevant in urban freight transport is that 25% of the emissions are generated by empty trips of motorized vehicles. Of course, this give an idea, an extent of the possible optimization that can be reached by cyclogistics. But the focus today is on the vehicles, so to compare different opportunities on the market, so also to understand what is the best vehicle for each type of duty. We analyzed here, so standard bicycle with if you have in mind the bike messengers, you have seen, surely you've seen some messenger riding a bike with shoulder bags, with carrying mail and small packages inside. So first mean for urban delivery in urban context is standard bicycle. Secondly, standard bicycle with a trailer is another solution. Here is an example on the left side of the slide with a small trailer which can be used for delivering also small boxes and in urban areas, and so. But you just need standard bicycle, and you can link it to the trailer. Then we pass to the cargo bike, which now, as we have seen in Nijmegen, there are a lot of different models, lots of different producers for cargo bikes. It's a very interesting niche of market because we have cargo bike powered by man-powered, and cargo bike electrically assisted. So there are a wide range of opportunities in the market. Here, some are illustrated here. Then we'll see in more detail in the next few slides. And then the other opportunities which bring cyclogistics closer to traditional logistics in terms of volumes that can be shipped is the use of tricycles for larger volumes. And okay, in the following we are seeing all the characteristics of each type of vehicle. I also mentioned the product database of the cyclogistics project, where you can find the different producers and different products that can be useful for developing a business in cyclogistics. Okay, looking at the different type of vehicle. For the standard bicycle, you can carry up to 40 kilograms, not on your shoulder, I mean, but with the use of a trainer, for example. And the equipment cost of the bag can go from 80 euro to 300 euro. Okay, on the example that we investigated, equipment suppliers are here listed, and some company examples. You can see also all of them have websites, so also to understand what are they focus in the business. CIVITAS is one of the most important urban bike messenger operators in Europe. It's based in Budapest and is also subsidiaries in elsewhere, in particular in Rome. Messenger from Prague is also another big company in urban bike messenger sector, and UBM is an example from Italy. of course, we are just providing some examples. Advantages of of bicycle compared to the traditional operators. So bicycle is fast and agile in traffic, is easy to use. You can find easily drivers, and drivers also purchase costs, maintenance costs are very low. You know, okay, the advantages are more or less the same of using bicycle for personal commuting instead of using a car. So these are the most important advantages. Disadvantages, if there are some, is that you can carry just a few kilograms of freight, and maybe you're not as visible as other vehicle. And okay, we just put here negative image because in some cases this is also okay. Not all the people love or like bicycles. So in some cases there are also people that don't like, and so we just put a negative image as a possible drawback of this. Okay, an example here with trailer, you can go up to 80 kilograms of payload, and so it's already an interesting solution, but the equipment cost is higher. So between here we consider between 250 and 500 euro for the equipment with a trailer. There are some equipment suppliers here listed, and some company example of companies using regularly using trailers for their duties. I must say that also for trailers we have seen a very interesting solution in the fair held in Nijmegen together with the European Cycle Logistics Federation meeting, and so I think in the coming years there will be a lot of developments in the market for proposing a new trailer solution also with larger volumes, and okay, we will see the trade-off between large volumes, more solidity, and prices. Okay. Advantages and disadvantages are more or less the same of a single bike, but you can carry larger loads up to 80 kilograms, and also a very important advantage is that the possibility of using the trailer with a different bicycle. So if today there is a rider with a bicycle, tomorrow the same trailer can be used by another bicycle rider. So it's quite easy to so it's interoperable, let's say. And furthermore, compared to other solutions that we will see later, like the cargo bike or tricycle, is a bit more handy to use. Okay, so it's quite easy and handy to use. These advantages are clearly the limited cargo security. Okay, we have seen also some example of boxes locked with security locks, but that would become heavier, and so okay, the examples that are illustrated in the example that illustrated the cargo security is not the best. Okay, and compared to a single bicycle, you have to consider that you need more space for storage and some more maintenance. Okay, but not much more than a bicycle. So not many disadvantages. Cargo bike, as I told you before, there are a lot of examples in the market, and it's very interesting also the evolution of these bicycles. They were at the beginning developed for personal duties or personal purposes, and and man-powered, while now there are a lot of examples of electric-assisted bicycles. So the vehicle cost can vary a lot. It can vary between 2,000 and 5,000, because if you have to apply an electric engine for electric assistance is quite expensive. But the payload is up to 80 kilograms and 80 kilograms and more or less 0.3 cubic meter, which can be extended up to 0.5 cubic meter. There are also in this case some company examples, but there are a lot of, I would say that if we had in the Psychologistics Federation 250 participants, I think in Europe we have now some hundreds of companies working with cargo bikes. Okay, advantages is a very flexible solution. You can carry in a secure manner your cargo. Is also easy to use, and this is a particular vehicle. It's not a standard bike, so it's attract also people working in the city center. So it's something that can be used also for advertising and for proposing new services, new solutions, new products. So it's a bit it's important compared to standard bicycle or bicycle with trailers. The purchase cost is changing. It's, if the other previous solution you can stay below 1,000 euro, here with for a cargo bike, solid cargo bike, you must consider to spend more than 2,000 euro. Other small disadvantages are, of course, the storage volume. You need a place where to store your bike. Is a bit less handy to use than a single bicycle. You have to ride the bike a couple of times before carrying goods. You can go together alone, and then you learn how to drive this this bicycle. Okay, but okay, we put some advantages and disadvantages exemplary in this slide. You can then look at them, and if you have questions, ask for them. Okay, the solution that we adopted as a special solution for tricycles, for triclo in Milan, is the use of tricycles. Here we have some example of their productivity, of their characteristics. Tricycles can arrive up to 250 kilograms. The vehicle cost is something that is, I would say, a weak point, because these vehicles are rather expensive. They can range between 3,000 and 12,000 euro, with a large variety because also of the characteristics of the vehicle. Some vehicle suppliers are here listed: Lovelo, Veloform, Cycle Maximus from different countries. Also Cheetah in Spain is also, they started as a delivery company, and they now also build and distribute their own tricycles. Okay, main advantages of a cargo tricycle: you can carry the loads of similar to those of a small van, because you can arrive to 1.5 cubic meters, but also there are examples of 2 cubic meters also on production. You can carry almost any type of general cargo goods delivered in urban center, because okay, there is a problem of volume, but with 1.5 cubic meters you can carry almost any type of boxes, any type of packs that are shipped within the city center. Is also more secure than in the former case. Okay, it can be designed in a different way because you have the chassis, and you can build on the chassis any type of box for carrying goods. There is a potential also in this case for advertising. Is something that attracts the view of tourists, of city users, of city of workers in city. Okay, these small disadvantages, slowing traffic because, okay, you know, one of the advantages of the bicycle is also to be faster than other means, because, okay, you can pass slalomizing between the cars or passing on the right. Okay, but considering also other solutions, you can go with the bicycle. You can go on bicycle lanes, while with this one is more difficult because of the width. It has to be to 1.1, 1.2 meters of width, so it's less easy to run on bicycle lanes. Maintenance costs can be high. As it is, for example, in our case for Triclo in Milan, because of the condition of the streets that put more stress on the vehicle. And okay, it's between pros and cons. I think that advantages are more than the disadvantages. Okay, here. So is to conclude that there is a comparison between the different solutions. We just put some specific characteristics in this table with type of vehicle, their weight, because also you must consider among the disadvantages, for example, of the electric assisted tricycles, that they are heavy vehicle, because 100 kilograms and more is just the bicycle. Then you can carry up to 200 kilograms. But okay, 100 kilograms of vehicle is not so light. Okay, length, width, and height are in line with the legislation, with the regulation in the different countries. So they are. They can be considered bicycles, both the cargo bike and the cargo tricycles. And okay, we compare the net payload and the price. Okay, then you can have your consideration on this. And we compared it with the CNG van on the right column of the table. Okay, here you can carry 3.4 cubic meter, but you must move a 1,400 kilogram car, so it means 1.4 tons, just to move 700 kilograms or 1 tons of load. If you consider the ratio between the payload, the net payload, and the weight of the of the vehicle, okay, I think that the bicycle is the most efficient one in this case, while tricycle is a bit less, but not so much, and vans are much less efficient on this. Okay, to conclude, some other issues that must be considered when you compare or when you are looking at this type of vehicles, also for building a new, for example, a new business on this sector. You must look at the battery performances, because you know that all the electric assisted vehicle need batteries, and so this can be a weak point, not only for the timing of the battery, but also for can damage the batteries and then also reduce their durability. Maintenance cost must be considered, so that's why we also highlighted the maintenance cost between advantages and disadvantages while considering the different vehicles. And you must look where you have to operate, so the operating condition, looking both on the external conditions, so the state of the infrastructures, the density of the streets, of the cities, also traffic conditions, for example, and also what is your business purpose, so operating burdens in terms of what is the distance, the radius of the area that you will have to cover with your delivery services. And we also put this last point on regulation for special deliveries, because we were considering to deliver general cargo, and so for general cargo all the means are equivalent, have a potential, let's say, but for special services, special deliveries, like for example refrigerated cargo, you must look at the regulations, you must look at different type of performances from your vehicle. Okay, I hope that we gave with this presentation a broad and clear overview of the opportunities that are on the market of cyclo-logistics vehicles. And that's all for today. If you have questions, okay, we can discuss later or through the chat line.
Yeah, maybe.
Thanks, Enrico, for your presentation.
Yeah, Enrico, I've collected also some questions for you. At first, Francisco Luciano asked us about the definition of innovative vehicle for the tricycle. So why we consider the tricycle as an innovative means of a delivery vehicle. I don't know if it's referring also to the fact that we are trying to develop also some prototype with the Italian producer. So why you define innovative tricycle?
Well, innovating. Okay, tricycle is an old vehicle, because if you consider tricycle, you learn to ride the tricycle when you were 2 years old, I think, and then you learn to go by bike. Okay, that's why it's not so innovating. But no, the innovation is in the possibility to use these tricycles for delivering large volumes of goods in urban areas. So you have the possibility to deliver without polluting, and that the key innovation is avoiding pollution and avoiding noise, for example, that are produced by traditional vehicles, traditional vans. That's the key innovation. Is not we are not inventing anything, but okay. And then improving the capacity, improving the flexibility of the vehicle, I think is that there the innovation is very important. Also to maybe to combine the boxes that are used to carry goods with tricycle, with possible load unit for small vans or trucks, and so that could be an innovating part of the business.
And there is also another question from Sarah Wixie. Do we have any information about the weight limit of a cargo bike before it is classified as a vehicle, so it requires, for example, to pay taxes and insurance, licenses? So it's something related to the weight or the type of the vehicle? So which are?
No, the problem is with the dimension of the vehicle. So according to the law, the vehicle are classified according to the dimension. So if you have 2 or 3 wheels, but you stay within the maximum limit of dimension, your bike. and no problem with weight. The other problem that can be raised that exists in other countries or limitations are different among countries is on the power of the electric assisting engine, because if you have too much power, or in some cases if you have electric assisted vehicle, that then you must register as a vehicle, and so you need a plate, for example. That could be the limiter, so on the dimension and on the power of the engine.
There's also another question. I don't know if we can answer to the other question, or
yes, so we can spend 5 minutes.
Maybe.
I think.
Okay, maybe another one. So it's also just to inform the participants that all the questions that we that you submit for this form will be collected, and in the end, since some of you already asked this, all the materials will be provided and uploaded on the event page, and we will upload also a table with your questions and answers. So also, if we don't have enough time to answer to all the questions, maybe the last question, Enrico, is about your opinion about this new Uber application or IT application that can somehow become also an opportunity, or I don't know if substituting or not the traditional suppliers or couriers. So what do you think about this?
Well, I don't know. I'm just seeing the spotted question: will Uber be the new DHL? Is that one? I don't know. Uber for sure will bring an innovating wind into this sector, and so it will push towards innovation also traditional couriers like DHL, of course. I think that most of them are already forerunners in the innovation. So okay, Uber will be if ever Uber will be a new player. Okay, it will be. I don't think it will be the new DHL. It will be a player innovating and proposing some special services for urban deliveries.
A new type of service in urban areas.
Yes, a new type.
Probably. Yeah. Okay, let's. We are a bit late, and thanks a lot, Enrico, for your presentation, for your overview on the real zero-emission vehicles.
Okay.
So,
thanks.
Please, Mr. Non, welcome to this webinar, and I'm very glad to have you here and to learn more about your project, which involves so many cities all around Europe. So please, Matthew, the floor is yours. And I give you the screen. Just one moment. Okay. Everything is ready?
You should be able to see my screen now?
Yes, your screen is on the view.
Okay. Well,
perfect.
Thank you for that introduction. As mentioned, my name's Matthew and I'm the FREVUE coordinator, which is the project for freight electric vehicles in urban Europe. And basically our purpose is to demonstrate electric freight vehicles for clean urban logistics. So it's not just about replacing the internal combustion engine delivery van with an electric, but how we actually can make the system as a whole much more efficient. Before I go through the main details of the project, however, I did just want to reiterate and provide a reminder of why we are doing this, because quite often that gets lost in some of our discussions. And the first part is obviously the World Health Organization has confirmed diesel and petrol emissions as carcinogenic. The implications of that are particularly severe when you look at the impact on human health in the congested urban areas. In addition to that, the EU has calculated the cost of air pollution across Europe at over 20 billion euros a year, which is a money that we are paying in our taxes to find ways to mitigate and remediate the problem. We're also spending in Europe about 1 billion euros a day to import oil. So we can start to see the costs of the current business model are actually exceptionally high, if we can start to change some of our behaviour to zero low emission activities, whether that's cargo bikes, as you've just seen, or electric vehicles using local generated power, etc. We can actually start to make quite a significant economic contribution, never mind making the system more efficient. And the other part I should just note is that under the European Transport White Paper, they've actually set 2030 as the year by which urban logistics should be fossil fuel free. And I don't think many people actually fully recognise that, and the fact that we're in 2014 now, we're only 2 vehicle cycles away. So if that goes ahead as planned, we're going to have to quickly change our behaviour, so we should be starting to do it earlier rather than later. Anyway, the FREVUE project involves the 8 cities, as you can see, across Europe, main capitals and conurbations, and we're looking to be demonstrating over 120 electric freight vehicles. And that's a full range from small car-derived vans up to the large trucks. And we've got a budget of about 14 million euros for the life cycle of the project. And the reason we've got our cities and our operations against these freight applications in terms of good deliveries and so forth, as you can see, is there are different climatic conditions which impact on operations. There are different geographical conditions, different socio-cultural factors and regulatory factors. And all of these do impact upon how vehicles are operated in our urban areas. So our main purpose is taking all those into account. Can we actually demonstrably prove the effectiveness and efficiency of electric freight vehicles compared to the internal combustion engine? As a quick recap over the partners, you can see it's quite well balanced, but at the heart of it is the logistics providers. This isn't a project driven by, for instance, local authorities or for research purposes. It's driven by logistics companies wanting to improve their behaviour and performance and how best they can do that through sharing knowledge. So the logistics companies will demonstrate the vehicles, and the data from that is going to be monitored, collected and analysed by our research partners, led by Imperial College, and then it's going to be supported by our coordination dissemination partners, working with the cities to share the messages and get those key learnings out there, because there's no point in us doing this type of project if we're not sharing the message around. We're also working with a couple of ICT partners, Itini and Atos, along with grid operators and vehicle manufacturers. They provide the technical expertise because as we go through you'll see there's some of the issues around electric freight vehicles are slightly larger than perhaps originally considered. Again, our cities. With Amsterdam and Rotterdam, the main issue we've been looking at here is how we can actually achieve all electric parcel distribution in our city centres. Obviously, smaller freight vehicles up to the 3.5 tonne are the main operators in most urban cities, and this will demonstrate that it can actually be done and meet all operational requirements without recourse to the ICE vehicle. In addition, we're working with our partner Heineken in Amsterdam, Rotterdam, who are trialling 18-tonne and 12-tonne vehicles. On the screen, in the top right, you'll see the Heineken truck in their corporate green. That is their 19-tonne truck. That's been operating for about 12, 15 months now, I think it is. And it's been operating successfully and with no problems. Quite often when I have discussions with logistics operators, and I talk to them about electric freight vehicles, they roll their eyes, shake their head, and basically look at me as if I've got a screw loose. So I always find it quite interesting when I can start using these as examples. So there's Heineken in the Netherlands. I know there's a large confectionery company in Switzerland also running 19-tonne electric trucks. And given their climatic and geographic conditions, quite trying conditions, they are operating successfully, and that's the sort of things we're trying to bring out. We've also got some smaller consolidation activity in terms of trying to get consolidation centres operating better. One of the things in terms of the last bullet point is that we do have some vehicle supply issues. There are fewer suppliers than originally envisaged, and some of the costs are getting higher than what was budgeted even a couple of years ago. which shows there's actually an interesting market failure, which I'll come to later, starting to impact on some of our operations. In Lisbon, we've actually gone for trialling the smaller vehicles. So we're looking at the car-derived van. So this is the Peugeot Partner, Renault Kangoo, that type of vehicle. I'm using it for municipal servicing and postal services, along with smart IT, so giving preferences and positive policy discrimination to these electric vehicles. As you're aware, electric vehicles do cost more at the moment on a straight capital cost basis, but quite often when you look at the total cost of ownership over a 1, 3 or 5 year basis, you'll find the costs are actually equivalent to or can actually be cheaper than a standard internal combustion engine. So we're looking with our city partners on some of those different policies that just help maintain that balance, improve that balance in favour of the non-polluting vehicles over the polluting vehicles. One of the things I wanted to say about Lisbon ones is that in addition to the postal servicing, the municipal servicing also includes cash in transit. If you've been involved with any transport logistic activities where cash is involved, you're aware it's highly sensitive with significant risk factors on the drivers and on the cargoes being carried. So you are unlikely to choose a vehicle which you don't have full faith and reliability in its operation. But in Lisbon, we've been using electric freight vehicles for cash purposes, cash transit purposes, and operating successfully. The demonstrator is fully up to speed, 15 vehicles particularly in Lisbon, and we're starting to collect the operational data on it now. Our next one is London. There's actually two parts to the London project. One is expanding a consolidation centre that's been operating with electric vehicles, and the other part is actually addressed within the UPS type model of operations, some of the simultaneous charging and larger demand uses that can impose. So in terms of what we're operating, you'll see it's 10 to 12 tonne trucks in the consolidation centre, and the interesting thing there is while the consolidation centre has been performing particularly well and reducing overall trips associated with it and the businesses it serves and emissions, because the cost factor of the larger electric vehicles are higher than the equivalents, there is a slight imbalance in the business case. So we've been working through that to better capitalise and understand those benefits so that we don't end up with a situation that while it's better overall, we still lose out because that cost differential. The main issue with central London, along with a number of other cities, has been actually grid capacity. If you're looking to recharge 1 or 2 electric vehicles, it's generally not a problem. You can plug it into your depot, into wherever you're charging, and there's no constraint. As soon as you go to a larger fleet operation, and in some cases that can be 4 vehicles from 4 vehicles up, we're actually finding the electricity supply and grid isn't coping, whether that's the substation or whether it's the power supply in. And this is particularly challenging and affects 4 of the 8 cities in the demonstrator specifically. So among the audience, if you are looking at this, have you considered how actually your grid would cope in this situation? In Madrid, we've got a number of companies coming together to use the consolidation centre, including Pascual, Sierra and TNT. And they come into a consolidation centre on the edge of central Madrid, where they have particular air quality and congestion issues, and they're using the electric vehicles for that last mile distribution. So you can see this is where we're capturing both the consolidation last mile delivery efficiencies as well as making it zero polluting. With particular aspects of the dynamic fleet management to enhance the operations it goes through. One particular part I'd like to note about this is that they're using the Legaz Pie market, which was an old market that went out of favour a number of decades ago, as with most cities that had central city markets, because supermarkets, changing freight models, logistics models, meant they were no longer required. What has happened is that a lot of these facilities are well located, heritage buildings, so you can't necessarily pull them down or fundamentally change their structure in any way, but of limited current economic usage. So we're actually finding this is a good way to potentially refurbish and bring back in historical buildings that were originally designed for these purposes, which are often overlooked. In Milan, and as mentioned by Enrico before, there's the Area C aspect of central Milan, which is particularly congested, with particular air quality issues, and really needs to have consolidation coming forward. So what we've been looking at is for the pharmaceutical industry, again, high-value goods, temperature sensitive, that require good, efficient logistics chains to try and reduce the overall number of vehicles trips being made, as well as the emissions associated with it. They are just completing the work on that now, so in terms of the consolidation centre and the operation, and so by the end of the summer, we should have this one fully operational. But it is quite an interesting one in terms of working with multiple large companies, in terms of the pharmaceutical companies, passing their deliveries to this third party for the consolidation and onward last mile delivery aspects, which, if you're aware again of normal logistics chains, there are particular issues about ensuring the quality, ensuring the security, and the overall maintaining the integrity of the goods being delivered, for which pharmaceuticals are particularly sensitive. In Oslo, obviously quite distinct from Milan or Lisbon or Madrid in terms of its climatic and geographical conditions, they have a particularly large market for EVs. As you're probably aware, it is quite easy, I'd say, the leading city for electric vehicles in the world, and actually probably the leading nation. They've got very good incentives, and they've removed the cost barrier of electric vehicles for normal sedans and passenger cars. Hence why the new Tesla Model S, the Nissan Leaf, are the biggest selling cars in their classes over the last few periods. So what we've been looking at there is, within these climatic conditions, how it's working in an ongoing operational environment with Bring, the logistics operator there. It's a 24-hour operational environment, so how are we managing that? So we've ended up with 4 electric freight vehicles there. These are the Peugeots, which you can see on the screen, smaller vehicles, but the interesting part of this model is also these are owner-operators. Again, one of the key challenges with electric vehicles in terms of their costs is quite often that a company will buy it, but we know in logistics there are lots of small single vehicle operators, owner-operator drivers. And so we're working on a model, because if these vehicles are unsuitable, it actually affects these drivers' take-home pay and how they pay their mortgage. So it's getting down to that level of detail that we're going to start to capture in terms of the operation. You'll note that we have delayed decision on the fast charging with regards to these, because in our current operation, we aren't finding any range constraints requiring fast charging, and that's actually occurring across a number of our logistics operations, whereas traditionally the whole charging issue, range anxiety, is seen as quite a barrier. It's much more of a perception rather than a reality. The last city I want to just quickly cover is Stockholm, and they're working in their Royal Seaport area, which is a very large redevelopment, which once completed will involve hundreds of houses and residences, as well as employment and commercial areas to employ thousands of workers. So if you know for London how the 2012 Olympic Park size and scale was, they're doing something similar, but on a much more mixed-use basis. So what we've actually introduced there is a consolidation centre for the construction goods and the construction of this redevelopment area, which will then transition through to a commercial, retail, residential consolidation centre. It's not often that you get it in this size, and also for the larger vehicle requirements of a consolidation centre, you don't normally get people considering the electric option either. So we're running a couple of larger electric trucks there, but they are electric diesel hybrids. We had tried to source full electrics, but the market is still just not there in that upper limit. There is demand, but the manufacturers just aren't really catching up on it. So the operation of that, using the electric around the consolidation site, the consolidation centre and construction, is working particularly well. I just thought it'd be interesting to note that one of the key unexpected outcomes is actually the build process has become more effective and efficient from the consolidation centre. They did some studies and it turned out about 10 hours per week on each job was being lost through people trying to find the goods, for instance door frames, windows, other materials which are being delivered to the site by one delivery company, then moved to another location, then moved to another location, and then identified, sorted, and brought back to where they need it. Because it's in the consolidation centre, the goods are always tracked. They're also weather protected, while Oslo does have extreme weather conditions. It's an issue in most cities, I'd suggest. So the quality of the goods is improved, less wastage, and getting through and saving 10 hours per aspect, which on a normal salary can start to add up on a job that's going over weeks, months, and years. Here's just a brief table showing the range of vehicles being looked at. So from our smaller size, the Peugeot Partner or Renault Kangoo, with cargo weights of around the 700 kilo mark, up to our 19-ton DAF version that's running with Heineken. So as you can see, the range of most of these is well over the 120, 150 kilometre mark. The one point I would note, and I'll come back to it in a moment later anyway, is that there's a type called the custom UPS. UPS, being a global operator, has also been struggling to source the vehicles that meet the requirements on electric freight vehicles. So what they've actually done is taken 10-year-old existing box cars, so the standard square ones that you see around the place, those brown ones, removed the diesel engine and unnecessary running gear, replaced it with an electric engine, electric operations, and brought it back into usage. So not only are they maintaining the lifespan of the overall vehicle, they're getting a much more effective and cost-effective usage out of it. But fundamentally, the ranges are all meeting the requirements and no day-to-day charging is required. We do have, however, a couple of outstanding challenges. And I do recognise I am moving through this fast, so I hope people are putting up their questions on the chat bar and we can come through that at the end. The main one we've actually got is this vehicle supply. And this is, I was talking about the market failure. We have companies such as Heineken, TNT, and UPS, LeasePlan, and others who want large electric trucks, but the manufacturers are only looking at the smaller size. So we've got customer demand, but not the support there. What this is resulting in is smaller companies, startups, other conversion companies retrofitting or refurbishing vehicles. And while it can meet the demand for the vehicle, because of their smaller size, there are issues on cost. But there's also a bigger issue for most of these logistics companies on the risk, because if you're a smaller company and you need maintenance or warranty issues, there are delays, you don't have those economies of scale. So as many people will be aware, a few years ago there was a very good electric manufacturer called Modec. A number of their vehicles are operating still quite successfully, but when they went bankrupt, there were issues associated with those ongoing maintenance, warranty, or parts. And that has made a lot of people hesitant about purchasing some of these vehicles. So we really need some of the larger manufacturers to get more involved in this market. The other part is the higher costs. Yes, they do cost more, but as I say, when you look at the total cost of ownership, the costs are coming down significantly on a purely financial basis. One of the main issues, however, is that in the logistics operations, companies either buy their own, such as UPS, or they go to a third-party leasing agent to get their vehicles. Those leasing agents aren't supporting electric vehicles because normally in their business model, they do their own maintenance. And they're unhappy or unwilling to undertake maintenance on an electric vehicle which they aren't aware of. We know from a lot of the work that's already been done, the maintenance on the electric vehicles is considerably less than what's coming through on a normal ICE vehicle, and also resulting in less downtime. But we don't have that level of confidence again in the leasing agents, so the costs are higher, which is one of the challenges we need to address. And the third one, which wasn't necessarily considered when we started the project, other than perhaps charging aspects in terms of can we find charging facilities, is those increasing constraints on grid capacity. In 4 of the 8 cities within the FREVUE project, this has already been identified as a particular constraint, and we're only talking, as I say, from about 4 vehicles up. And this is going to be an issue across the board. In London, for instance, a lot of the heating in London is currently gas. The government is moving us towards getting away from gas heating processes. There's a low-carbon London moving towards electrical heating sources. But we've actually got this fundamental infrastructure. It's just aging and it's just old. So what other cities around Europe may have these similar constraints which are impacting upon the future uptake of e-mobility? And the particular challenge with this one is that because electricity supply substation networks are regulated, there are very fixed rules on what can and cannot be done. So for instance, where we have one operator looking to address the charging issue, they are being asked to pay a 6-figure sum to a third party to improve that party's assets, for which the operator really gets no benefit, because if they move from their depot or change operation, it's a sunk cost. So it's one of the key challenges that are coming up. So in conclusion, where we've been operating, we've got over 45 vehicles on the road at the moment, with another 80-odd effectively coming in by the end of the year, start of next year. Range is not an issue. It's perception and not the reality. For urban logistics, electric vehicles are working perfectly well. Overnight charging is meeting the requirements. Again, from a logistics perspective, you do not want your vehicle parked up during the day when it should be earning revenue for you. So as far as the challenge goes, that's been addressed. In certain circumstances where you may want a top-up charge, it well fits in within a driver rest break. The driver will still need to use the toilet, go grab some lunch, take his allotted hours away from the wheel. That can meet those requirements if needed. A particular benefit is driver and customer supported. For the drivers, it's quieter, smoother, less stressful, and less impact on their bodies. So they're actually ending up much more refreshed and comfortable at the end of the day, which is increasing their satisfaction and overall health, reducing absenteeism and the related factors around that. On the customer side, they're also starting to see very positive responses. And one particular note is in a lot of areas it's providing a competitive advantage as the customer base is asking for more information on CO2 emissions. Are they green companies? How's their supply chain? Especially large corporates which need to start reporting on these types of things. As I mentioned, the wider industry for the uptake is still hesitant, mainly over the supply and warranty issues. If we can start to address that, or within our urban areas, increase the pool of electromobility repair opportunities, that's going to have a big help to push the market through. Fundamentally, however, there is significant opportunity for growth in this area. We've got the policy drivers, we have the financial drivers, and we have the customer demand. So for urban logistics, electric freight vehicles for the larger goods are working very well and have the opportunity to grow the market and improve our urban environment. So that was me in a snapshot. My contact details are there. If you want to email me at any stage for further information, please do so. Our website is FREVUE.eu, and on that I'll take any questions.
Thanks a lot, Matthew. So we are a bit late, but we have the time just for one or two answers. What do you think, Cosimo? There anything interesting by your side?
Yeah, there are some interesting questions. Yeah. As I said, we used to collect also all the questions and then to answer afterwards, so to put it on the event page. I see also a request from some attendants of providing more details, for example, about the performances of the electric vehicles, or some interesting suggestions of combining also cargo logistics, the use of bikes with electric vehicles. So these are more or less suggestions, and maybe I just have to choose one question for you, Matthew.
We provide all the answers, all the other answers on the website. So Just
yeah,
choose one.
Maybe one of the questions is just taking one of these is about the maintenance. There's a question by Francisco Luciano. Could maintenance be done by electric vehicles manufacturers as opposed to leasing agents? Because this is regularly done for tramways, for example.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, if maintenance could be done by electric vehicles manufacturers instead of providing this by leasing agents, as it works for tramways, for example.
Yes, the issue with that aspect is becomes the economies of scale. Where you have a large manufacturer, so if we're looking at the normal global vehicle manufacturers, if you need a repair job, the technicians and the leasing agents can be quickly trained up because it's existing technology that may just have improved, so that's not an issue. And they also have any parts locally generally sourced. With the smaller electric vehicle manufacturers, however, they don't have the ready supply chain if parts are required, and they don't have the local people on the ground trained up in their particular technologies. So the leasing agents could do it, and I think there is a big opportunity there. They just have yet to feel that there's sufficient demand, and this is, again, one of those fundamental chicken and egg situations. The larger organizations will rent 1 or 2 electric vehicles to begin with, and once they see how they're performing, then go large quantities. A leasing agent is being asked initially, therefore, I need 2 7-ton trucks, and they'll say, well, no, we're not going to support that, so we're not actually getting even those vehicles tested by the organizations that do want more. So there is the potential, and the model would work, it just requires the leasing agents to take that extra step.
Okay. Okay. Just the last questions. You mentioned that smaller vehicles can easily be charged using conventional chargers, and also less need for rapid or fast chargers. Does the same apply to larger 19 tons vehicles? This is another question from Sarah Wixie.
Fundamentally, yes. The main issue is the size of the battery pack that needs recharging on the vehicles. Because if it's a larger vehicle, it might have an 80 kilowatt battery rather than a 22 kilowatt battery capacity. So on a normal socket, which can provide 3 kilowatts an hour, it may take 8 hours for a small vehicle, but if it's 80 kilowatts, it's going to take considerably longer. So you would need to go for a higher quality charging connection. But fundamentally, that's not really an issue as long as you have the energy supply, because it's just connecting it up.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Matthew. But we had to go forward. So finally, the last but not the least, I'm very happy to have here with us Giuseppe Lupino, an Italian friend from Bologna. He is an expert in city logistics, and he's involved in a lot of European projects on city logistics. Today, Giuseppe, as I already said, will present some activities about the SMILE project. So please, Giuseppe, the floor is yours, and I will give you the monitor.
Okay, thank you, Tito. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course. I think
can
all
you
of us can you. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you to Tito Stefanelli and TRT for the invitation to this interesting webinar on behalf of ITL and also on behalf of the SMILE project partners. I am Giuseppe Lupino. I'm working for the Institute for Transport and Logistics, and I prepared some slides in order to present the project. First of all, a short introduction with the information about the Institute for Transport and Logistics, the organization for which I'm working in, and some indications, because why we are talking about city logistics, and then some information about the SMILE project and the pilots. I would start with the introduction of the Institute of Transport and Logistics. Is a no-profit research organization with headquarters in Bologna, in the core of the Emilia-Romagna region, and other two branches in the region, in particular in Piacenza and in Ravenna. All the shareholders are 100% public, and you can see the main shareholder is the Emilia-Romagna region, all the provinces and the main municipalities and universities of the region. The main aim of the Institute, the ITL, is to develop studies and research projects supporting the policymakers, but also considering the private actors. Last but not least, ITL is also in charge at the European level of the European Network of Logistic Competence Centers. It's an important network with a lot of institutions in the Europe. And what are the topics we are facing? Topics are different, but always linked to the transport and logistics for passenger and for freight. With in the last years, with particular attention from my side in the city logistics, supporting also the regional and the local administrations. But why regional administrations? Because there are different reasons. The first is the pollution. As you can see, the Emilia-Romagna region is one of the worst location considering the pollution in Italy, and there are a lot of cities which have a lot of problems, in particular for emissions generated by the road transport. The second this is a reason for which the region is basically the transport issues, but why the city logistics? Because we had several studies in the region and with a lot of studies with the European projects also carried out by the ITL, and we clearly understand that more than 60% of tons of goods transported are up to 50 kilometers. And this distance is covered by the own account transport, which is, as you know, is not efficient like as express couriers or third account systems. That's why the Emilia-Romagna region and the ITL are working also at this level. And at this level, this is the structure we use for as general checklist for the policy and in particular for the city logistics. So public administration, in our opinion, can solve problems only with a good awareness of the problems, the development of tools, and a good governance. I explain also what we are doing in the SMILE project. The SMILE project is a European project with in the Mediterranean area. We have different partners. The lead partner is the city of Piraeus in Greece. But we have also some other cities involved in this project, like the two Spanish cities, Barcelona and Valencia, with 4 partners involved. The city of Montpellier, supported by also EFT, the city of Rijeka, and of course the city of Bologna. The main activity is the main objective of this project is to develop and implement innovative strategies, plans and measures to obtain energy efficient mobility solutions in the cities involved in this project. The project has several pilots in different topics, and all these pilots and all these activities are related to the city logistics. And we have four main pillars. The first one is dedicated to the electric mobility, in which there are 3 cities involved. And the second one is the green labeling, the waste logistics, and the ICT solutions for the city logistics. As you can see, there are 3 cities per each topic, so it means that there will be pilot studies, and of course transfer of experiences. This is what happened last week for the first topic, in particular for the electric mobility. ITL is the contributor of this activity, and because we have a good practice carried out by the Emilia-Romagna region. Last week we had a webinar session to which also Tito participated with the SMILE partners in order to transfer some experiences and knowledge to the other partners. In this case, the case is the Emilia-Romagna region case, because the Emilia-Romagna region developed an electric mobility plan with an agreement with the main municipalities of the region and the power supplier of the at national or regional level. In order, the main results of this electric mobility plan are different, are several, and one is the interoperability of the charging station and the development of the infrastructural network. These 2 activities are completely free of charge from the public authorities because they are carried out from the private suppliers. So there are also some activities related to the policy at policy level, and this is the agreement with other municipalities. So if you are an owner of an electric vehicle, you have no restrictions in terms of time windows in the city centers, and you can parking, or you can use the parking for free. This is the list of the cities and of the power supplier and the agreements carried out in activated in the main regions, and you can also see, which I can overlap the map about the pollution, that the first cities are the one with a lot of problems in terms of pollution. So this is one of the first activities, and considering our policy sandwich I presented earlier, we can see that we are covering different tools like as ruling, development, and optimization, because we are talking about network, indirect incentives, considering the no restriction for the limited traffic zones and the free parking, and the interoperability of the Mi Muovo card with an ICT activity. But this is not only further than in the Bologna involvement. There are also 2 Spanish partners working on the electric mobility, in particular the Valencia and Barcelona, and they are implementing similar solutions in order to face the problems of narrow streets, pedestrian zones, and pollution emissions. So they are implementing the tricycles and cycles with electric assistance for the limited zones in the city centers of the 2 cities. And you can see the solution adopted in Barcelona and in Valencia. In Valencia, you can see that earlier the deliveries were carried out by different operators, and now they are implementing a urban consolidation center in the city center in order to allow the transshipment of the goods to the tricycles. The second pillar of the SMILE project is the green labeling. We have a lot of recognition schemes. We know the FORCE, the PIEC, EcoStars, the Green Freight Europe. All of them are considering two main issues. The first is the voluntary system versus the ruled systems. You know that, for example, the freight operation recognition scheme in London is for the voluntary systems, but we are studying also other green labeling with a ruled system. The second issue is to face the problem of the own account fleet. So we are thinking to make the transport operators more efficient in order to understand how to proceed and to improve the situation in the city centers. One of the experiences from ITL side is the CIVITAS project. We carried out a study with main cities of the Emilia-Romagna region, and this is the table of the access and the time windows and in the different cities. So you can see that there are a lot of problems which a transport operator can encounter, and we tried to with the support of the Emilia-Romagna region to harmonize these rules and to increase the standards. So 1 hour and a half in the morning and in the afternoon we tried to harmonize the access to the limited traffic zone of the cities in the Emilia-Romagna regions with vehicles equipped at least with Euro 4 equipment and other equipments. You can see also that the electric vehicles are referring to the electric mobility plan, so they have access 24 hours in all the cities of the region. But what are the results? You can see that also considering this the policy sandwich, we are covering all the three pillars. So we have indirect incentives, we are innovation, and we are facing also the own account system. What are the results of the first activities in the pilots? Because you have to consider that a SMILE project will finish in June of the next year. So all the pilots are still running, or they have to start in the following weeks. Considering the electric mobility, we had an interesting workshop in Barcelona last May, and we had the opportunity to visit all the station where the transshipment is carried out by the companies in Barcelona, and we had the opportunity also to have a presentation from the organizations and of the municipality of Barcelona. This is the trend of the evolution of the number of deliveries per month, considering that this activity is starting from December of last year. And these are two graphics which explains the savings in terms of emissions and in terms of kilometers for this project. You can also download these data and presentations from the website of the SMILE project. At the end there is also the link, so there are no problems for this. The second part is dedicated to the green labeling. The pilots are still in the development phase, but considering our experience, we have expecting some results in terms of incentives, indirect incentives for the transport operators. Of course, if the green labeling is done at metropolitan or regional level, we have a potential harmonization of the rules, and for the private perspective, there will be the opportunity to have rules clear and certain. The second result of the SMILE project is also the city goods model. Is an activity which is carried out by ITL. We are using a new tool for the analysis of the urban freight demand, and this model will generate the distribution of freight in terms of origin destinations, and it is focusing on defined supply chain and traffic. Is still in beta version, so we are testing this tool in order to use the model in September or October of this year with all the partners' involvement. Making a step back, I want to say something about city logistics in general. ITL has a deep experiences in city logistics thanks to the opportunities given from the youth funds. This is a list of projects in which ITL carried out studies and pilot tests, and starting from 2001 and finishing with SMILE, which is still running. So the conclusion of this process is that this topic probably cities and local authorities are focusing on the local impact of the rules and not on the impact of the rules to the entire supply chain. This is particular importance for the development of new activities related to the city logistics, because the range of action of the city logistics is not the same as some years ago. Some years ago we were thinking about the historical centers of the very city center. Now we are thinking about the extra-urban area or the wider metropolitan context. But now we are aware that not considering the whole supply chain, we could generate impacts which cannot be perceived in the local context. So the last mile should be integrated into the supply chain, and we have to consider the long distance. Think, for example, to express couriers, which have the main business in the very city center, but the supply chain of the express couriers has an impact at the global level. This is a slide which I consider very important for, especially for the public administrations. I think that the public administrations should define a strategy, but the strategy should be defined after the awareness about the business models. We should be aware that new rules, new technologies create new business models, like as the new electric vehicles. And what is the public administration role? The public administration rules is to anticipate the market with new rules and also with the private involvement in order to create public-private initiatives. The harmonization of rules is also very important in order to simplify the rules, but all these activities should be generated with the awareness about the city, the business models. Thank you for your attention, and if you need something, I'm open for your questions. I think I'm in the 15 minutes.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much, Giuseppe, for your contribution. Very interesting, the approach of Emilia-Romagna region and the SMILE project and all the activities of ITL. We are very late, as usually, and but we want to spend the time for one or two questions. All the other answers will be put in the website. So, Cosmo.
Yeah, this is always a positive element to have a lot of questions, so that we can also somehow continue the discussions here and also afterwards. You have answered already, Giuseppe, to some of the questions already within the presentation, especially from Bruno Duarte. There was a question concerning the use of incentives for private operators to invest in, and this was clearly showed in your presentation. But he's also asking, do you think that these incentives might be also in form of tax exemptions, for example, or this is on a policy level that this is not at the local level, and so that how do you think it can be combined, these aspects in a policy?
Okay, incentives can be understood in different ways. We should find incentives in order not to create something which cannot be useful for the whole population, because we have to consider the public perspective. As incentives, I can say that yes, a reduction of taxes in terms of taxes for the possession of green vehicles can be one of the solutions. And other solutions, for example, in the presentation I had, are the permissions to the limited traffic zones. For example, there could be also some reduction in terms of prices for the limited traffic zone for greener vehicles, and it can be done very easily, because you can easily increase the cost of the access to the not green vehicles. So you are not asking to the people you cannot enter in the city center. You are saying you can enter, but you have to pay more if you have not a green vehicle. So this kind of indirect incentives are very welcome also from the big players. We had the opportunity to talk with them, and the result is that if there are clear rules about the incentives, also in terms of indirect incentives, they are able and they are willing to make important investments.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Okay. There's also another question from Jacques Leonardi.
A quick answer. Because
yes,
we are
yes,
very
yes.
late.
It's good because there's a question related to the
Of course.
Emilia-Romagna region cities. He mentioned the Padova example of combining a consolidation center, clean vehicles, a policy on clean vehicles, and then the access rules. What's your opinion about the implementation of such an integrated strategy in the region, so in the cities of your region? Are they really following this integrated approach, or is still working more on one or two of these three aspects?
Hello, Jacques. It's a pleasure. I think the Padova case is quite particular because there are particular standards, because they have the consolidation center into the freight village. In terms of integration, I agree. It is one of the main activity we should make, but I think, I personally think that there are some huge costs for this consolidation center outside the cities. So maybe there are some micro consolidation centers that can be used in an integrated form for the delivery, for the last mile delivery.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Giuseppe.
Thank you.
So the time is running out, and we have to leave. We have to close the session. So thanks a lot to Enrico Pastori. I don't know if he's present. Thanks a lot to Matthew Noon and Giuseppe Luppino for your interesting contributions. Thanks a lot to you all for being here, and I hope to see you in the next webinar. All the presentation and the registration, all the materials will be put as soon as possible in the website. So have a nice evening, and bye-bye to all.
Thanks to you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.